Well, good morning to everybody. Well, it did rain last night here in Bowling Green, Virginia. It had some wind. It wasn't horrible. It didn't last very long, but it did rain. The roads are a little wet. It's partly cloudy right now, about 60 degrees, and it's beautiful. So anyway, I didn't charge my camera up last night, and I don't know how much battery life these cameras actually have. I know they're good for a good 30-minute ride home, but I don't know how much longer after that. And I'm struggling to come up with a topic that would encourage viewer participation in the comments, but here's a good one. So I mentioned it previously that I spent 20 years of my life in the United States Army, and I also grew up an Army brat, so majority of my life, the majority, probably all of it, even now I'm working with a bunch of retired or former military folks. So it's just safe to say that my entire life has been spent around military people. Military attitudes, military mentalities, military ways, etc., etc. And I love it. It's what I know, it's what I like, it's comfortable, and you always gravitate towards what you know. So with that being said, a lot of the guys I work with, they're veterans, but a lot of them only spent 3 or 4 years in the military, 2 or 3, 5, 10, whatever the case may be. And some of them were medically discharged for one reason or another, where they had knee problems or injuries, things of that nature would give them, it would be a medical discharge, but nonetheless it's an honorable discharge. So anyway, back on subject here. So military service, a lot of the guys I work with aren't retirees, as in they haven't spent at least 20 years in the military, requested and subsequently were approved for military retirement, which is something you have to do. You can't just automatically get out of the military at 20 years. You have to request retirement, and it definitely is a request. So you can get out at 20 years, and it doesn't mean you're going to retire. So yeah, man. Anyway, back on subject. So you have to request retirement, request for and be approved for retirement. So a lot of these guys I've been talking to lately, they're like, oh yeah, today would have been 20 years in. I could have retired this month or last month. Or, a lot of them say that they kind of regret not staying in. And I can understand that, especially in today, in the world today, with the cost of medical care and all that kind of stuff happening. Medical insurance, and I'm sure it's different wherever you go. Different companies provide different types of insurance coverages and costs, and some companies will cover the cost to the employee, but if they want to add their family member, it's going to cost. Well, let me tell you something. I know people in the civilian world who with a wife and 1 or 2 kids, including themselves, are paying in excess of $600 a month for medical insurance. That's unbelievable, especially when I tell them what I pay for medical insurance. Now granted, you could always say that, that's pretty cheap, Ron. What makes you rate that? Well, I served the country for 20 years and requested, honorably served the country for 20 plus years. I requested and was subsequently approved for military retirement. I pay, this is going to piss a lot of people off, I pay about $460 a year. Well, it comes right out of my military retirement check, so I don't even notice it missing. I cannot imagine spending $600 a month on medical insurance. But, it came at a cost. Like I said, I had to spend 20 years doing what Uncle Sam told me to do, and where he told me to do it. Whether that is, Fort Richardson, Alaska, Fort Campbell, Kentucky, or the freaking middle of the desert in Saudi Arabia. So, it's a sacrifice we all have to consciously make, whether or not, what kind of lifestyle we want. So I'm just curious if there's any other veterans who are watching this who did not retire, who regret not staying in for the full 20 for one reason or another. Not just for the medical benefit. I mean, the military retirement pay is not all that much. It's better than nothing, I'll give you that, but you know, it's not as good. It could be better. I have an ex-wife who gets some of that, which I don't want to get started on that rant, because that would be a good one. That would be a long rant for me to go off on that tangent. So anyway, yeah, if you're a veteran and you voluntarily left the military, I'm not talking, you know, I mean voluntary when your enlistment was up, you just decided to get out. How many of you regret it? I mean, honestly, regret not staying in for the long haul. I love military life. I'd go back in a heartbeat if they take me, but I'm too old. So anyway, I guess I'll just let the camera run. If it runs out, it runs out.